I have one question for you. Who is going to bring the fun?
You're in the honky tonk with Todd, the Data Cowboy.
All right, everybody, welcome. That is the question. Who is going to bring the fun? We're going to answer that question and many more on this episode of the Bring the Fun podcast in the podcast studio. I would like to introduce all the most fun people in the industry, in the line dance industry on this podcast. It's great to be able to interview everybody. So if you have any ideas of anybody that you want to be interviewed, who you think brings the most fun, the most joy to you in the line dance industry, just email me at IMIN at bringthefun.dance. It's .dance, not .com. So just email me any ideas you have, or you can post them below in the chat or in the messaging, or you can hit us up on social media. I'd love to see who you think is the most fun people in the industry so we can interview them this year. So it is my pleasure to have Mark Paulino on the podcast today. He is incredible. I have been all over the country with this guy. He brings the fun like nobody else. If you don't laugh through your whole workshop or anything with him, you're not having any fun. He's amazing. So it's a pleasure to speak with Mark with the Fine Line Dance. And great to have you on board here, Mark. And we actually just spent the entire weekend last weekend with Mark and Jess and his whole crew up in Massachusetts and in Connecticut. And we had an incredible time. It was an absolute blast. So I'd like to start off the podcast always kind of understanding where you came from, where you started, how everything got started. But before we get to there, I just want to say Mark has some of the most unique dances in the industry. He has just crushed it with Rude Dude, with Make the Rooster Crow, Honky Tonk Way, Tatlo, which is my personal favorite, 615, some of his new ones, 615 and Hawk 2 that he's been teaching are just absolutely incredible. And they're so unique. So we're going to get into that, get into his mind a little bit. It might be a little dangerous getting into his mind, but we'll get into Mark's mind a little bit on this. So Mark, tell us a little bit how it all started. How did you get into, what's your background? How did you end up getting into line dancing?
Well, I mean, before that, and thank you, Todd, again for having me here. It's definitely my pleasure to be here. Getting into that, I was born and raised in New York City. We started off with hip hop, even a little bit of the breakdancing scene. And I took some classes for hip hop choreography, and I went and moved down to Florida after 21 years of living in New York City. And in New York City, we never even had any type of line dancing or country music. So adapting from hip hop, R&B, and pop music to country was definitely a stretch. But then when I first found out about line dancing and how they blend in both music into dance and dance into music, I was sold. I then started following the Wild Roses with Diddy and Wendy down in Fort Pierce area, Florida, and that's when I started learning how to line dance. But from the get-go, even though I learned the steps directly from the instructors and how it is taught in the step sheets, I kind of add my flair here and there. So I started to develop, this country line dancing kind of skill, learning the steps that are needed to make a proper line dance. So adding that and also my interpretation of hip hop and pop music and dance. Nowadays, the fusion of different types of style of music nowadays, where now it's a mixture of pop and country, kind of fits the style of how I was brought up with pop, hip hop, and also country. So just honestly, I think the stars align and I just got lucky.
Well, that's great. Yeah, your Rude Dude video is like a professional music video, incredible dancing, incredible choreography, as well as all the outfits and stuff. I mean, completely breaking the norm from, the whole movement of country line dancing into, the modern, maybe younger or other generation or more hip hop. It was incredible. And I think people really, really have enjoyed that. So this is probably a question you get all the time, but when did you decide to give your hair the attention it deserves? When did you decide to go with the mohawk? Did you start out with a cowboy hat and then go with the mohawk? How did that happen?
So funny story. I started out with K-pop kind of hair. Like I look from like the K-drama series or K-pop boy band, and I was rocking that. But then I learned living in Florida, it gets way too hot. And so then I shaved my head and it felt a lot better. And then when I was growing out my hair again, hopefully to get towards that mohawking phase, I wanted to kind of also bleach turn it more like brown. But to get your black hair to a brown color, you have to bleach it. So then I ended up bleaching my hair, and I'm like, wow, this is really unique. And it kind of like replicated my personality too, kind of like, I guess, subtle and fierce at the same time. I know that's contradicting, but to me, it looked the part. And then as far as the mohawk, I wanted to go with something unique that kind of does reflect on my personality in the dancing scene. Yeah, I never wear it in public or at work. I'm a physical therapist assistant working at nursing homes. So sometimes my patients get to see it, but it's not my personality out there, but it is what I do wear it in the times where I do want to promote my image, especially as a choreographer and instructor. So honestly, it started around 2014, something like that, 2015. Yeah.
Yep, that's when you became that was the line dance choreography superhero look. There you go.
Yes, absolutely. From Clark Kent to Superman. Exactly.
And tell us a little bit about, or actually introduce Jess. Let everybody know who Jess is on the call, and then talk a little bit about how you started the fine line dance.
So I started, well, this is Jess. She's my assistant slash marketing manager slash everything else. So she
Social media video guru.
exactly, she's a techie and soon to become also DJ for future events. So I started a fine line dance a long, long time ago. Actually, when I started doing choreography, I just thought of the name as like my choreography. I wanted something like unique, and I wanted to incorporate like multiple meanings to the name, not just a simple name like the Mohawk Mayhem or something. I don't know. Um, so I mean, I wanted to incorporate line dancing, and then I just thought of there was different variations of names that I came up with, but when I came up with the fine line dance, it's kind of like a deeper meaning to it. It's So when we say it's like the fine line between one thing or another, I feel like when you get to that level of being a line dancer slash choreographer of a certain caliber, you're either, there's a fine line between what's casual or what's a passion, a lifestyle. And I feel like when people meet that or cross that boundary between something they do just for fun to being able to travel to become a choreographer, instructor, I feel like that's that fine line that we all love. And by the time we cross it, it becomes a part of our lives. So I started that in the beginning. Yeah. So even though it's just a name, there's a deeper meaning to it.
So who or what inspired you to become a line dance instructor, and then how did that transition into doing choreography?
Well, in the beginning, it was just I was always a fan of dancing, and when you go to Florida, you can't really. The only dancing you go is to have is going to a nightclub, and that's when people go there to try to either hook up or just meet people. And I kind of wanted to just go there to dance, and then people don't normally go clubbing for that. So I actually went to Wild Horse Saloon in Nashville just visiting, and that's when I first experienced line dancing. So it wasn't really like who inspired me. It's just that moment where you see a live band, three line dance instructors teaching the choreography, and 100 people in unison doing the dance. Whether or not we mess up or not, we were all having fun, and it was more that feeling that I want to keep like experiencing, and obviously from now it's for the rest of my life. And it was that moment where I wanted to also push that to the students that I teach and inspire people to become choreographers or to enjoy my choreography, because it can and will change your life.
Yeah, it's definitely, whoever has the most fun out there, that's who wins every time. And if you get a whole group of people that are just addicted to line dancing, it's unlike anything else for sure.
Exactly. It definitely brings the fun.
Absolutely. So tell us, we want to get a little insight into your craft, like what makes you so good at choreography. Where did you get, how did you kind of start? How do you start your choreography process? How do you decide like what you want to do or come up with your ideas?
Well, in the beginning, even though like I took some hip hop choreography classes and I did attend a lot of not only local classes, but also line dancing events, I still never had the proper training. So even though like I am inspired to push myself to be a better choreographer, I know there's still a lot to learn. But behind making choreographies, it really is about listening to the song. What does it make you do? Like when you have your favorite song and then you play in the car, what does your body want to do? When you're at home listening to music and you just want to dance, what do you want to do? Now, like, is there a certain move that really resonates to you when you hear in the chorus? Or like, for instance, shivers when when you hear the first 8 count of the chorus and you just want to stop and move your body any way you want. It's that interpretation from music to dance that really hits home with making choreographies and to make dances fun. So for me, it's really trying to understand the music by listening to it. Now, when I say that, I literally listen to the same song every day whenever I get a chance. Even if I come up with nothing, I listen to it, and in some way, somehow, it might happen whether I'm in the grocery store or I'm out on my break off work, or just even when I go out line dancing. When I'm taking a break, I put on my headset and I just listen to music. And sometimes it happens at any place at any time. It's a eureka moment, really. But honestly, it's just putting yourself into that position of always being around not only that music, but music in general, and just to allow your body to interpret the dance, the rhythm, the lyrics. It really reflects on not only creativity, but interpretation.
Well, there must be something special in your body to create some of these dance moves. You hear the music and you do these things like in, Rude Dude, where you do the four hitches bouncing back and forth, and then Hawk 2, where you do the reverse Monterey. I mean, there's just some very unique moves that I don't do in any other dance that you have in your dances. So how do the kind of those come to you?
Honestly, it's funny because line dancing is taking the same steps that you've always done with every line dance and kind of rearranging them in different ways that makes it unique. But it's still easy enough to learn because it's dance moves that you've already done. Like everybody has done Monterey quarter or a Monterey half turn, but it's just putting those pieces together, knowing what you know, and just kind of just testing the waters, I guess. I mean, when I came up with, let's say, Rude Dude with the Hitches, at that time, I just wanted to just jump, but in a way where you're not really jumping, but you're just kind of like hyped up, because that's what the listening to the music does. I mean, it could have been any other move, but because of the combination of hitches and you have turns, which I love to do, I always add a lot of turns in my choreography. And right now, I know it's difficult to do turns, but when you do it enough times, you're just going to want to keep putting turns in your choreography. So, I mean, with hitches, it's just adding, there's no real, story behind it. It's just what I did. It's funny. I was in my bedroom when I made Rude Dude, and I had my bed and the dresser was right there, and I just had this small space. So that's why Rude Dude it's kind of really two-dimensional, really, and very compact. But it's because I created it in my bedroom with the little space I had, and so that's why it didn't seem like it was traveling much. But again, it's just being creative with what you already know. I mean, how many times can you add numbers so you hit 10? You know, it could be 10 and 0 or 5 times 2. I mean, they all come out to the same thing, but it's just how can you be more creative and twist a little bit so it seems complex, but it's not.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the business of line dancing. So how, like, what are some of the challenges that you see in kind of running a line dance business, and what are, kind of what gets you the joy out of running the business side of it?
So I gotta put this up front. It's definitely not for everybody. And I say this because it is true. You don't want to put your hobby as a career because you're going to invest so much time, money, and effort into it that it just becomes work. And it's not just work for me because I'm very passionate in it, but you can easily get burned out, and then it's going to affect your nights out when you actually want to go line dancing. But that being said, like, it's just because it's difficult doesn't mean it's not worth it. For me, the idea behind the business was to inspire people. And that's always been my thing. I want to have people learn like how to be more creative with choreography, with instructing, and just to learn the different dimensions of line dancing. So, I felt like it's a missed opportunity for people to learn, and also a missed opportunity for me if I don't pursue this life decision of mine. But as far as certain, like, there's a lot of benefits, and obviously there's a lot of setbacks when you make line dancing your business. Again, there's a lot of songs out there, there's a lot of choreographers out there that you're really competing against. Like, how can you be known? And you don't want to be known for anything drastic, but ever since the beginning, like, I always tried to push an image. So for me, for that mohawk, ever since, even before I became Mark Paulino of line dance, I always held my 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 look, and the main thing is consistency. You don't want to keep
Sure.
changing personality, you don't want to keep changing your look. What I started with was being consistent with bar songs, bar style dancing, line dancing, and people start to really pay more attention to that. And then from there, I started branching out to do more phrase dancing, some non-bar dancing songs, some more pop music or rap or things like that. But the main thing, especially to start, is stay consistent. Build your own identity in the spot of line dancing, but don't do it for anybody else but yourself, because then you're gonna get into it for the wrong reasons.
That's excellent. So look to Jess, the guru of all the social media, all the marketing. You have great material to work with Mark, for sure.
Too
Could you,
much.
too much material. Could tell us a little bit about what you think, or any advice you have for people that are trying to promote their business? Like, how do you go about it? How do you think about how to get the best benefit out of the imaging and the scheduling and all of those things that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, like, the biggest thing is that social media is just so powerful. Like, it's really about, perception. And I think that, as long as you spend the time growing, what you're passionate about and showing people what you love to do, and you have that niche, there's an audience out there for that. And that grows, that grows your credibility, that grows your vision for the future, because you have the opportunity then to just network with all sorts of different people who are reaching out to you, seeing what you're doing if they otherwise wouldn't have. When I first started working with Mark, that was one big thing that we talked about, was that he wasn't a big social media person, so he just never posted anything. And I was like, man, you know how many people around the world, honestly, like your choreography is their favorite dances, and they have multiple, they could name multiple of their favorite dances being your choreography, but they don't know your name, they don't know it was all choreographed by the same person. And that just has to do with the fact that, I mean, it just, it shows that, social media is important in just getting your reputation out there, and it's, free for anyone to use. It's not even like it's an expense in marketing. But then the other thing is just like, it also is a testament to how unique his choreography is, the fact that even without the social media push, his stuff was going viral. And so that's really like what motivated me to want to continue working with him, is that, like, this is just something that is, it's very unique, and it's very fun to work with. And I believe that if he can prove that without the social media push, he's successful already. I think that with the extra intention and a little extra focus, we can really build this into being something that no one else has done before. We have some really cool ideas, and so the whole thing is just, it's a great experience.
That's great. And now back to the cat videos.
No, did you hear my cat? I keep putting myself on mute because he's sitting outside crying because I'm not paying attention to him. He was fine all the way up until I grabbed my iPad.
That's fine. They're included in the fun as well. So what social media platforms, like, what do you recommend to somebody that's like just starting out or trying to promote themselves?
Yeah, I mean, and we've honestly, like,
the other, or
yeah, and Todd, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, as much as we both understand and believe that the social media is important, we've like been so busy with just getting a foothold in the operations of the business and like promoting future events and still working full-time jobs during the day, that like we haven't even done everything that we want to do. We've got a whole list of ideas and things we'd like to do, and honestly, we need to focus more on TikTok. We haven't posted anything on TikTok in like months. But TikTok is really where line dancing has seen a lot of growth. And whether you like TikTok or not, it is, I think, one of the things that really pushed the next generation of line dancers into the scene, is that people who wouldn't have otherwise discovered it all of a sudden saw something that was fun and catchy, and it was, and now it's done to all sorts of different kinds of music. And so there's a wider audience of people attracted to it. And definitely, kind of like what Mark was saying earlier, there's not, as far as nightlife goes, there's not a lot of options if you don't feel like going to a nightclub and having your personal space invaded. So there's definitely something attractive to, I think, the young generation, of having a place where they can go socialize, do, dance, and still have their own bubble and feel like there's a good community there. So I think that definitely, promoting yourself on TikTok is really huge. And I think that that's probably one of the best ways to go viral. That's how a lot of Mark's dances went viral, was through TikTok, not his own videos, but other people posting them. Shush, my cat out there. And then, TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, honestly, like one of the nice things about promoting yourself on that platform is, not only is it a method of free marketing, but eventually, if you grow your audience enough, the platform wants to keep people engaged. And so, they will find ways to monetize your content. With choreography, it's difficult because the choreography is always done to a copyrighted song. So, that's the hurdle that we have to, that's our challenge with social media, is figuring out how to post things without getting flagged.
So about Mark, how many workshops, events, and stuff do you do a year? Or what's your goal? Like, how many do you want to do this year?
Well, so ever since, even though I made the fine line dance as LLC last year, I never really got started until this year. And that, honestly, it's like with everything in my life that led to this point, and also having Jess as my assistant to help me with every step of the way. Every weekend, I'm booked to travel around the United States and internationally. Last 2 years, I've been to Spain and Italy, and this year I'm going to Canada and Belgium. So it's really fun. Next year, I'm already scheduled to come back to Spain, so that's another fun thing. And I just I just keep trying to push it. When I was teaching at local bars, I never had the opportunity to travel because I needed to be a part of the business. They hired me to teach the honky tonk that I work in, and they expect me to be there. So for me to consistently ask, hey, I gotta miss it. I know that we could get coverage, but it's to the point where I knew that I wanted to do more than just teach at a local bar. So when I had the opportunity to actually move to another part of Florida, I started that opportunity to start traveling instead of teaching on a weekly basis at line dancing bar. So just started to poke around and ask, well, every time I see somebody do a dance of my video, every time I see a video of somebody doing my dance, I ask them, hey, where do you guys line dance? Because it's cool that they're doing my choreography, and then it'll be this state and that state. And then I just kind of ask them like, hey, would you mind if I come guest teach or possibly have a workshop? And it just adds up, and it's to the point where it's every weekend I'm traveling. It's
Yeah,
funny that
it's been great. It's been great to see you all over. So you came up here. We were at Cancun Cantina in Maryland.
Maryland,
We're
yeah,
down at Loudon Kitchen. The Loudon Kitchen crowd was completely packed the
it
floor.
was
And they
it
already
was
did
amazing.
probably half of your dances, and then learned a couple more, and they were so psyched. I think you probably sold more t-shirts at Loudon Kitchen than
Yeah,
they were so
yeah,
excited to
they
see.
made yeah, it was an amazing time.
Yeah, and then
I
last
can't wait to get back.
yep,
Yeah,
Massachusetts at Rascals, and then down at Cadillac Ranch in Southington, Connecticut. I mean, you're just like going everywhere, like all of these hot spots. So it's a great gig if you could get it, and if you have somebody to help organize it like Jess to keep you out there on the schedule. That's
of
awesome.
course. Yeah, and this weekend we're headed to California all
Yeah,
around. So
Kristen,
um,
she was pumping you up on the last podcast, actually, how excited she was to have you coming out to California.
yeah, I'm gonna be hitting up like different events, different places to guest teach, and also have a workshop there. So it's been, I think, 2 years since I've been out in Cali, so it's about time.
That'll be awesome. So tell us a little bit, kind of your teaching technique. How do you decide what you're going to teach, and kind of your teaching philosophy?
So if I never been to an area, I would like if I'm teaching 3 dances, I would always have 5 to 6 dances prepared to teach because I base it off what whoever's there, whatever kind of dances that they do. If they're more strictly into country, I have line dances to country music. If they are more experienced and they are flexible with their style of music, then I have harder ones to teach. And I really try to adapt my classes to whoever's there. Majority of times there are a lot of beginner slash improver dancers. So majority of the time I am teaching that, but still I want to make sure that, it depends also like what kind of, if a workshop teach versus a line dancing bar is totally different because at a line dancing bar, you have 15 minutes to really teach a line dance. Whereas a workshop, you can go 30 minutes or 45 because you really want to go more in depth. When it comes to teaching at line dancing bar, 15 minutes to the point, you do need repetitions. You need to cover all 4 walls. You need to cover restarts and tags. What, usually in a line dancing bar, you kind of try to stay away from that because it does take too much time in that 15 minutes that you have. Because it's still a bar. People want to hear music and they want to dance, not just sitting around. But it's also a good time to for them to eat and drink and help with sales at the bar. So then you have the different songs and dances covered. You have the time and teaching styles. I You start to learn how to speak faster. In the beginning, you really try to articulate every single word, but then if you notice, especially like YouTube shorts or even just YouTube videos, people starting to either talk faster or edit, so it's like they're talking faster, and you just
It's
need to
great.
practice the what?
These kids were raised on Coco Melon. It's the attention span.
Yeah, no, well, well, it's more about time management for me. So,
You can do your
so for
mohawk
me,
in it, so
yeah. So as far as teaching styles, really try to practice how to talk faster while trying to keep your on the process. You have to be a mom, basically, eyes on the dance floor, hyper aware of your surroundings, see who are getting it. And my main thing is try and get 75% at least to get the dance before I move on.
Yeah,
And
one of
usually
the big challenges for a lot of instructors, especially when they're starting, is like how do you handle the difference in the skill levels? Because pretty much most bars you go to, you have a pretty wide range of beginner, advanced dancers. So how do you kind of manage that or handle that?
Well, the thing is, a lot of times, and I think this is, something that is widely known, that more advanced dancers don't go to line dance class because they can learn on their own. They don't need
They're
an
sitting on the
instructor.
sidelines waiting for the actual dance of the
Exactly. So majority of the time, even though you do have a mixture of dancers out there, they learn on their own. So they're at that point where they have enough experience where they could even just watch it by learning it by watching. And that's what I do too sometimes. Like, well, when I went to Rascals and I didn't know a dance, all I saw was two walls of it, and then I learned it, and then I started dancing with everybody, and then I started adding my own flair. But so majority of the time you're just trying to explain steps for beginners slash improvers, explain to them how to properly weight shift so you can get the next step, anticipation of steps, even like the change in direction or turns. That's why whenever we explain about walls, we kind of tend to go to the 12, 3, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock to try to make them more adapt towards line dancing, because line dancing is easy, but it's really challenging at the same time, especially if you have two left feet or are directionally challenged. And one last thing about my teaching style is definitely add humor. It could be bad humor, it could be good humor, as long as it's, presentable humor, which sometimes, yeah, it's hard to get a laugh, but I try to break the ice because learning how to line dance could be really frustrating, especially nobody wants to feel like they failed trying to learn something or feel embarrassed because they turned the wrong way. And I always bring back the example of my history teacher in middle school, where I hated history because I'm like, it's in the past, leave it in the past. But my teacher made it so interesting and added humor to it. It made me want to pay more attention to it. So it brought more interest, and didn't make it seem like I was learning, but I was being a part of the lesson. And I think that was a good strategy to use.
Well, I think Jess has so much video of your comedy and antics at all the workshops and stuff. She probably could do a HBO special, comedy special from some of your teachers. It's super fun. We just have a
HBO is
blast.
the only network that would air it.
Yeah, it's gotta be late night HBO.
Late night, I remember back then.
For sure. So a little bit about your influences and inspiration currently. Like who are your biggest influences in the line dance community now?
Definitely, hands down, Guy and Mundy. Guy and Mundy, from the get-go, was trying to promote different types of style of line dance, incorporating more arm, hip hop movements, and the song choices are also different, which back then I could only assume was a huge struggle. And I feel like now that line dancing is still evolving, and the use of different types of music is, evolving as well, people have a hard time, adapting. And so I felt like my struggles is really relatable to what he's been through. And right now he's just a phenomenal choreographer, instructor, and dancer, and internationally famous. And
Yeah,
definitely,
I mean, he's broken so many barriers and done so many amazingly cool choreographies. Very difficult if you want a challenge. He has some great
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, he's come out of retirement. He's traveling all over and going to a lot of these big conventions and stuff. So yeah, if anybody gets a chance to see Guyton out there, he is amazing. So, and he's super personable, just like Mark. Go up and say hi to all of these guys. They'll love to chat with you on everything. So anybody else in the line dance community that kind of influences or that you kind of watch what's going on?
Well, in the beginning, definitely Dee Dee and Wendy and the Wild Roses, what
Yeah.
they promote as especially as a whole is what I want to do to push with the community. And they're pretty much my parents of line dancing. I learned everything, and I honestly, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today. So thank you, Dee Dee and Wendy.
Yeah, fantastic
So,
group. Yeah, we love them.
yeah.
Any memorable moments or achievements in your line dance or choreography career that you want to mention? Like what
Yeah.
when it happened, you're like, okay, I've done it. I've done it. Like I've achieved what I wanted to get here to do.
Well, one memory, I don't know if this kind of counts, but one time when I was in one of the line dancing events, Guy and Mundy kind of approached me, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool. My idol is talking to me." And then we started talking, and I wanted some advice. And the one advice he gave me, and I never understood it until, years after, was stop stomping. Stop stomping in the choreography, stop stomping. And I get it, in the bar scene, we want to make that noise, but I understood it with more knowledge in my line dancing career. And it just resonated to me. And the fact that he shaved my head,
Yes.
that was, I still, I still have his beanie and he wants it back. So we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, honestly, to me, it was a passing the torch kind of moment, and that's when he was retired. So, or slash retired. So to me, I felt like there was recognition with my idol. So to me, that was one of the biggest, proudest moment of my career.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Very cool. So a little bit about kind of the community, line dance community and the culture. Like what do you see kind of going on in the line dance community? How is it evolving? What do you kind of see the future of line dance?
So it's interesting because when I first started, it seemed pretty like universal. It's the same dances, same main choreographers. And now I feel like with social media being more active and a lot of people are wanting, like Jess mentioned, to get more of that recognition and being dancers or choreographers, I think it's definitely evolving to another state. But I do want to really let the people know that you want to at least go to certain events for line dancing training, for choreography training, for anything you want to do. I understand that we all started somewhere, and I didn't like, besides going to the Wild Roses line dancing classes, I never ever had other types of training, but I definitely know that if I did have more training, it wouldn't take me a decade to get where I'm at right now. So I think that now there's more options in the community, not just line dancing. Now West Coast is being more of a thing, and country swing as well. There's more competitions out there and workshops, which is phenomenal because we, as line dancers, we want to really do pass the torch down, and they're going to be the future of line dancing. So it's nice to know that it's not just line dancing that is evolving and becoming bigger, but also the line dance community is being bigger in other aspects where we can also fill in these line dancing bars. That in return will bring more business to the bars. And the main thing is just keep supporting each other.
And what role do you think line dancing plays in that kind of bringing people together?
I think it's more of the core. Well, I mean, see, everything has its role. I feel like if you're doing country swing, that teaches you different things that line dancing doesn't. So I feel like learning both country swing will help you become more of a leader when it comes to things like two-step and couple line dancing, because as a line dancer you're just independent, but when you're doing country, what's it called, when you're doing the couple line dancing in a circle, nobody taught us to be leaders and followers. So I feel like as a line dancer you'll learn how to be able to understand the basic steps of using, each line dancing step as an individual. And then when you add it towards a couple line dancing, it'll help kind of advance your experience. But as far as line dancing, I think that's one of the more basic stuff, keystone to really expand yourself into other aspects like two-step or country swing or West Coast, because you really train yourself to listen to the music, to trust your body, to kind of react or interpret dance with music, and which you need to have the fundamentals in partner dancing and other aspects.
What did you think of the layout of a Cadillac Ranch, where they have it very segmented, where you have all the line dancers in the middle and you have a nice line around the outside, and they do pretty much most songs they do a partner dance and a line dance. Are
See,
there?
it's
I don't think any of your or many of your line dances they could do a partner dance, right?
no, it would be interesting, but I mean, like, to be honest, line now that I think about it, also couple line dancing is becoming more popular now. And I think the main thing is it's offering somebody, like, if you're out dancing, whether it's line dancing or couple, it gives more people the opportunity to go out there and express themselves. So I love the fact that they incorporate both and they have classes for both and they push that, because maybe line dancing's, people are more into the couple line dancing over regular line dancing or vice versa. It gives people the chance to do something different or new. If a person's been single and they've just been line dancing and they met somebody and they wanted to do something, cute together, they can go to the couple line dancing or country swing and kind of incorporate that into their dating life. So like it adds different flavors and it gives people the opportunity to do, like, they can just hang out, or if they don't like the line dance to the choreography of the song, they can choose to partner dance, and that's always a thing. So
What
I
what's your favorite thing about line dancing?
favorite thing, how you get lost into the music. And sometimes I forget that, how you dance at home, where you listen to music and you're just the beats in your head and you just go nuts. And yeah, sometimes it's just, I mean, you just feel free about it. Something about line dancing, it's you make it your own. Whether if you're a beginner in line dance, you stick to the steps, or you mess up and you try your best. But when you are understand the choreographer and the choreography, and you the interpretation from dance to music just hits and resonates with how you feel. It's just music and dance is just, it lets you loose. So line dancing to me, it really is my therapy.
Yeah, that's great. It's a lot of people's therapy for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So what advice do you give to someone that's just starting out line dancing?
definitely repetition, repetition, repetition. If you go once a month, it's going to be difficult for you to learn. Yeah, you're going to feel like, why am I not getting all of this? It's not easy. I mean, I was just talking to a friend the other day, that just the idea that people go to this bar just to learn how to dance, and you dance with everybody, but you're still in your little bubble. It's just, you wouldn't have that in any other type of scenario or thing. Just the concept of that is just very unique. And everybody has different lives, and they take their time to just go to this bar and just dance with everybody. So my advice is really put yourself in that position where you're learning. Accept that, you know, things that you try to learn, there's going to be times where you fail and you're gonna need to keep trying, putting yourself in that position, just watching, learning, or just even if you don't even know the line dance and you try to learn at, you know, the corner of the dance floor to just try to mimic it, just putting yourself out there, you'll start to adapt and learn on automatically. It's kind of our nature to adapt and learn and evolve. So definitely go to the classes. The instructors there are phenomenal and they want you to learn. So you just need to just put yourself out there.
And any advice for more advanced dancers for them to be able to improve their skill levels?
Let me see. Definitely go to workshops. Workshops, they really teach you a number of things, whether or not like teaching styles, because people who are passionate in line dancing at some point might want to dabble or be a part of the instructional position in the line dancing community. And so being exposed to that as well, you'll notice different instructors have different teaching style. Heck, when I started, that was one of my fears. I'm like, I'm just a boring guy. Everybody has their niche or their jokes or their freedom of speaking, and I'm just you doing the hokey pokey left foot in left foot out, it was dry, and I was so worried about bringing out a personality. But honestly, being exposed, like I said, to new beginners, you know, being exposed to constant instructional classes in these workshops by professionals that travel around the world pretty much, ask questions. I know it's difficult because of time and money nowadays. I'm sure a lot of people are in the same struggle, but trust me, it's worth it. It's definitely going to one up your game in the line dancing community and just your involvement with line dancing in general. Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely some amazing workshops and some of these conventions now bringing people in all over the world to teach. It's really amazing to see some of these like superstars or celebrity type of people in
Right.
there.
And one last thing is as far as advanced or experienced line dancers, we need to have a habit of learning how to read step sheets, because there is even the most advanced dancers, sometimes they just learn on the spot, and sometimes that is playing telephone. And that is one of the biggest thing that we're starting to forget. It's kind of like how they are discontinuing teaching cursive writing. Well, how are you going to learn how to write your signature if you know? So I feel like that's a key component to it, because it's not just a tutorial video. You got to learn the basic backbones of line dancing, and that really is the step-by-step process of these line dancing steps. So when say something, there is an argument, well, I think, in Rude Dude, you're supposed to do this, or in Rude Dude, you're supposed to do that. They pull out the step sheet written by the choreographer. There's written proof
Yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do. But again, line dancing or dancing in general is open to interpretation, so that's fine. But I think it's one of those things that you need to get down. And if there's no demo video, I mean, if there's no tutorial video and you're basing it solely on learning off people who are dancing it, remember, dancing is interpretation. So people could do their own flares, and then people who are learning it might think, oh, that's the proper way to do it. That's
Yeah.
a proper choreography. So again, go back to basics, learn how to read step sheets. It's not difficult.
Yep. There's definitely room for variations, but you got to know the dance to start with for sure. That's right. All right. So now
So
kind of a fun part of the podcast. We're going to do some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy.
So hopefully you're ready. Okay, so the first question is cowboy boots or fuegos or otherwise
Oh,
what's
100% cowboy boots. Cowboy boots. 110%. Don't, nope, no flakes.
no fuegos. No tennis shoes. All right, coffee, Starbucks or Dunkin', coffee, or if not coffee, what's your other, well, I know what your other favorite drink is.
Oh,
Tell everybody.
well, my favorite drink is Casamigos tequila. Hey, hey, open for that sponsorship. But definitely Starbucks,
Starbucks. Awesome.
hands down.
Okay, Jess, you're not getting away. You got to answer the
Dunkin'.
question.
Dunkin'. I used to be a Starbucks person, but now I'm a Dunkin' person now.
Dunkin', why'd you move to Dunkin'?
My Dunkin' girls are just so good to me. Like every time I see them, they hype me up. They give me free drinks. They like, and also it's quite much coffee for half the price that as you would at Starbucks. So I just
She's
I'm a
a
Dunkin'.
value and fun shopper.
And they have better sandwiches. I'm just saying. The Starbucks food tastes like plastic.
All right.
Tomato. It's all about quality.
There goes the Starbucks sponsorship. That's gone.
No. I'm all about quality, not quantity.
I know
I'd
you
rather
guys
have a
are
Quality
good.
is not great.
You're a good
No.
duo for sure. Okay, so
parent.
cowboy boots or
Next question.
fuegos, Jess?
Oh, I was always cowboy boots, but then I realized I've been wearing the wrong size for a very long time, and my sneakers have been very comfortable. I just need to get suede on the bottom so I can spin. But
So Jess is a custom
I've recently
tennis
converted.
custom dance. Gets her own
I'm a
tennis,
recent convert.
puts her own suede on the bottom.
And it might also have to do something with the fact that we travel with a backpack, and I have a lot more contents of makeup and clothes than Mark has to worry about. So he can bring his boots, and I don't really have a lot of room left.
Gotta have priorities. Gotta have priorities.
Priorities.
All right. Okay, Mark. So this is always one of my favorite questions. So top 3 people in the entire industry who you think are the most fun. Who brings the most fun in the industry? And you don't have to put them in any order. All right, Jess has got the stickers.
So definitely Adia Nuno is one of my top priorities. I think she is a phenomenal. Philip, he is an amazing MC. And obviously Todd, I gotta put you up there.
You
really
can't pick
rally
me.
it up.
I'm disqualified. I'm
The
part of
fact that I
part
didn't
of the
make this
family.
list is like
The
All
fact
right,
that there's rules, it defeats the purpose. No, okay,
that's right.
third one.
No rules. Okay, who else?
Let me see. Oh, Patty from Ohio. I swear she's the best drinking buddy ever. Hi, Patty.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate the comps for that. Okay, so what's your favorite 2 events of the year and why?
I always go to Jamie Marshall's, what's it called? Dance for All. I've been going there consistently for 4 years, and it's something that it's something that she brings, and it's hard for me to explain because there's so much of that event that I just love. I absolutely, I would not miss it, and every year I still go. And let me see, dancing at the bit. It's hard to
I had a feeling you were gonna say that.
it's hard to explain because you
Be
just
there.
got to be there, and you'll definitely make memories.
Yep, up in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Gettysburg. I cannot explain reasons for.
It's a small event, and the people that joined it the very first year created a bond that is unbreakable. Incredible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
from the shenanigans that happened the first year, there's been license plates, there's been jewelry, there's been t-shirts, there's been all kinds of crazy stuff that's come out of that. So if you want to find out, you're just gonna have to go to Stomp It at the Bit in Gettysburg.
Yeah, we definitely earned the title of being savages.
The savages, exactly.
The savages, and
great. Okay, so what all-time favorite 3 dances of yours?
All
Not
time.
necessarily your dances. Three
Yeah.
dances.
Have Fun Go Mad. It hits different with Shake That Eminem. I mean, like, I love it to the original song, but that's definitely one of my tops. Asking Questions, not to the original. Again,
Not to the original, yeah.
not to original song, but the different variations to it.
So what do you prefer? Do you prefer C'est La Vie or do you prefer
C'est La Vie? 100%, 110%. I don't know if C'est La Vie has died down, but to me, it's just It just hits. It just hits. I felt like it was made for it. Just like Shake That with Eminem to Have Fun Go Mad. And definitely Hold Your Horses.
Oh,
Hold
yes.
Your Horses, E-Type. It's silly. It's fun. It's just I could really be goofy. It's hard to find line dances where you can just be goofy. Usually, a lot of line dancers want to be cool, want to be sexy, want to show their figure. There, I can ride an invisible horse. Granted, I never ridden a horse before, so I could only imagine what that could look like, and I put that in my dance move, so it's fun.
Yeah, super fun dance. You'll have to forgive me for backing into you and missing one of
Yeah, I was like,
stand up there.
Todd, not here.
Great fun dance.
Absolutely.
Okay, so another one of my favorite quick fire questions. Who is your line dance celebrity crush? Like, who have you not met in the industry that you would love to meet? What celebrity out there or top? And who have you met
I
that you want to meet?
I have plenty, but I don't think I am at liberty to tell. Sorry.
All right, who's like your
It-
biggest idol that you haven't met?
biggest biggest idol.
I don't mean pretty crush as to who you know.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I mean, they've seen my DMs. No, I'm kidding. Let me see. To be honest, I haven't. I was always a big fan of Derek Steele, and I haven't been to Motor City yet, and I feel so bad, but I always wanted to see how he run it, just be a part of that event. He's a phenomenal choreographer and instructor, and I want to learn a lot, and he's definitely a wealth of knowledge. So I would really want to hang out and kind of question, or question like pick his brain on, how he transition from a line dancer, instructor, choreographer to running Motor City. So that's phenomenal.
All right, Derek Steele. Okay,
Yeah.
so a couple personal stories. And you probably have a million of them, but like what funny experience or unexpected story from your classes or performance or events? Like what stands out as like the thing that really just had you on the floor laughing or crazy fun?
So sometimes, well, all my jokes are never written, and it's on the fly, and sometimes jokes doesn't pan out to expectations. It was funny in my head, so no, but honestly, it's just sometimes I enjoy having fun teaching, I and I never know how it's gonna be because it's just at the moment kind of thing. So I had fun experience where, for instance, one time I went to teach a class and then I walk around the dance floor just so different people in the class could see my feet and whatever. And then I would randomly stand in different spots. And in this one spot, I stood next to this Asian guy and girl. And out loud, I was like, oh my gosh, my family came to visit, right? And then they all started clapping. They're like, yeah, yeah. And then after that, I was like, no, I don't know them, you racist people. Like, and then the whole room just started laughing. So, I like to sometimes pick on students in that way, but it's all fun. And then I always thank them in the end and apologize if they got butthurt.
Well, the thing is, if you're at a comedy show, you don't want to sit in the front row. That's the rule. You don't want to sit in the front row at a comedy show. The problem is at Mark Paulino's dance teaching, there's no safe spot on the dance floor. He will move around the dance floor and make you in the front row immediately. And there's no safe spot. You can't hide from Mark.
Not even in the middle.
No, not even in the
No,
middle.
no.
Be right there, right next to you, making some
If
comment.
anything, if you stand in the back, I'll start paying more attention there because it's hard to see. So I start going around there, and if I see you, if you look into my eyes, trust me,
Don't look. Don't look.
I'm gonna
Don't get
don't
it.
look at Mark Polino. Just look at his feet, not this.
That's right. Look at his feet. Okay, so I'm big into living your dreams, doing everything 10x, doing the impossible, showing people that you can do things that nobody thought you could do. What's your 10x dream? Where do you think you're going to take this in your life?
Well, in 5 years, my 5-year plan, hopefully, I'll be either a bar owner or partial owner where we can do line dancing. I already have like so many unique ideas that will bring business and is will include the community a lot more because I'm such a big part of it. I feel like that is where some people treat it as a business, which they should, but they forget that also the line dancing community are the people who you want to attract, and to make them more involved in my head will bring more business. So my 5-year plan, hopefully being partners or having my own line dancing bar, that'll be amazing.
Where do you think? Florida or somewhere else?
Oh, everywhere. I mean, you business does not limit where you go. I mean, if we're talking about like partial owners and whatever, having the fine line dance as the company to represent the line dancing portion of the business, and then you know hiring instructors to get training or to go to the events, to be a part of more involved in the community. I want to just not only have that as a part of my team, because I first started it by myself, and now I have two amazing team members, Jess and Heather Joffer, as my event coordinator and MC slash instructor. I'm, expanding my business. So like hopefully in that 5-year plan, I'll be a part of multiple bars where I get to hire people to not only instruct in behalf of the fine line dance, but to be also have them teach my choreography. So it's dual purpose.
Fantastic. The tryouts are starting next week. Okay.
Entry is shot of tequila.
Shout out to, yeah, tequila. Only tequila drinkers allowed.
Only Casamigos.
Casamigos, only Casamigos. Okay, let's talk about trends and observations. Like what kind of trends do you see happening in the line dance world, good or bad?
It's a mixture. Definitely, if we start involving the highly watched influencers that are choreographers or instructors, or choreographers, instructors, and dance influencers, if we can be all on the same page where we don't have one dance and it's misinterpreted multiple times. Like I feel like once we solve that problem, because I feel like that is a main issue in the line dancing community wherever you travel, where I could understand if you're like doing your own flair or you're doing your own interpretation, but when it's being taught or you're portraying it as like a different choreography as opposed to what is taught on the step sheet or even on the tutorial videos, I feel like playing telephone with what's the correct steps is something that we need to really improve on. So I feel like once we kind of solve that problem, it's easier for everybody to be on the same page to learn to dance correctly. Because I feel like it does a disservice to the choreographers when they put their heart into making these line dances just to be changed by everybody else because it's what they wanted to do. Again, it's okay to do your own variation and flair, but make sure that you teach it the right way first. But besides that, it's a growing industry and it's definitely good for business. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's great. What are your thoughts on the kind of variety of line dance certifications and training programs out there?
I mean, I was never I never had a certification nor went to those classes. It's really through experience that I've learned how to become a better instructor choreographer, but it doesn't mean that it's not necessary. I feel like it's definitely a faster track to gain that experience. So you're not taking 5 to 10 years to become a seasoned instructor. Instead, you can kind of save time by gaining that knowledge from instructors to know how to teach, or learning how to read step sheets or proper step, how to style your footing, or You know, the everything you need to really learn properly, I feel like it's important. But I kind of like relate it to real life where, it's nice to go to college to get a degree and everything like that, but can you survive without it and learn through experience? Absolutely. So it's necessary for the people who wants to get more involved to it, but I don't think it is a must have.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. That makes a lot of sense. So how do you stay on top of kind of everything that's up to date, all the new styles, new techniques?
So that it depends where you're trying to go with it. Are you trying to be the dancing influencer where you get so many views? With that, you had to be on top of the hottest dances. You have to do your research, and you had to practice the choreography. You had to, have, the lighting and the camera angles and things like that. But as far as for me, like even if I am more aware of what's popular, I know that I need to stick to and be consistent with my branding. So I'm still focused on the next step, on what I need to accomplish to get to the next step of my career so I can make it to that 5-year plan. And even though, like, if you're like learning the new stuff helps if I want to just relax and just have a line dancing night. But I feel like if I'm learning or doing the dance like shivers or a bar song, to me it's more for fun and not really something that I need to focus on in my career. So for me, I'm just more focused on what songs are out there that people know of or don't have a dance to, or what new combinations of steps can I come up with. I'm starting to dabble working with different choreographers kind of to help the process of making new dances. So when I do have classes or workshops, I'm not going to teach what everybody else is wanting to teach locally. I want to give something fresh and new, and kind of like show them that my choreography, my instructions, my brand is worth investing into.
Yeah, and I have to say honestly, you are probably one of the ones that a lot of us look at as creating the new styles. Like somebody else got asked the question, they're like, yeah, I watch what Mark Paulino does. I look at his new dances. I look at what he's working on. So you do come up with some really creative stuff. Let's talk a little bit about like performances and competitions. I know you've done several or a bunch of the choreography competitions. How did you
Yes.
like that? Are you still doing competitions? How does that fit into kind of Mark Polino?
Let's see. I do a little bit of a line dance competition, but it's really nowadays it's for recognition, just for promotion and also to get advice. I always went to the choreography competition to get advice, because you can't just ask a Guyton Mundy or Scott Flevin or Rachel McNamee, oh, hey, can you look at my material and give me advice on how to become a better choreographer? And it's just I rather go through the experience of not only creating a unique dance, but also performing a new dance in front of people who are just going to judge you. And it's so funny because we get into line dancing knowing that our creativity in choreography and dance will never be judged until you're being judged. So it's definitely, it threw me off, but it's, to me, I wanted to go. I felt like that's the necessary steps. And honestly, I add that to my credentials whenever as a choreographer, I can say, hey, I've I've attended for years many choreography competitions because I am invested in bringing a quality piece. I'm not just trying to do it. I'm not doing it for views. I'm not trying to be popular. I want to evolve my knowledge in the choreography aspect. And who better to really get that type of feedback than the already successful choreographers that traveled the world. So, and I feel like that's the only opportunity for me to expose not only my talent and recognition, but also to learn from the best.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard from choreographers is that you literally have these world-class people that could probably watch your dance once, do the whole dance, understand everything that you're thinking, and be able to tell you and give you advice on how to improve it. So, any other advice that you would give somebody that's looking to do choreography competitions or trying
I,
to get
I do have advice for the line dance judges. Ooh,
Oh, yes,
spicy.
let's hear it.
Yes. Okay. So, you know how you can just hear a dance, look at a dance, and you can judge it based on that. But there's another aspect, and I think Chicago had it before where they have to learn the dance and do the dance. Because let me tell you, even though Rude Dude is a phenomenal dance, without even like if you just have one person doing the demo, I was lucky to have a group do Rude Dude in a choreography competition. But imagine if it's just one person doing the demo, you hear the music and you do the choreography. It doesn't really look like anything. It looks like one person just is lost and is turning left and right. I feel like once you get into it, you'll start to understand it more. It's not line dancing isn't just a visual and audio thing, I feel like if like the people who are judging, they learn the choreography. And granted, I know time wise is not, something practical, but I feel like that should be an aspect in the choreography position. I feel like they will understand it more, and in return they'll be able to give a more accurate feedback with their judgment and their advice on how to improve.
Yeah, they did that. They did that at Vegas Dance Explosion, where
Okay.
you teach the judges the dance, and then the judges come out and dance it with you, and then
Yes.
okay, yeah, they really can understand it then.
Right, right. And I feel like a lot of my dances, I feel like once you put yourself in the shoes of the choreographer where you do the dance, like you'll understand that, like just like Rude Dude, like visually it looks so cool or it looks so difficult. But when you do it and you understand the steps, it's really not difficult. It's out 3 years and people are still trying to learn it because visually it looks so complex. But when you actually read the step sheets, it's not that difficult. So I feel like we should implement that more, especially in the choreography competition aspect. And the way to judge it, it wouldn't be all the judges learning every dance. It would be, graded 1 to 20 or whatever. And based off their judgment, that's where they're gonna rate. And I know it's kind of difficult with favoritism as well, especially different variation of style. But I just feel like the choreographers, who's competing, they're missing out on how to improve if they don't try to learn the dances itself.
So, which of your dances that you want that won competitions for you are the choreographies? Which ones do you think they got it right? Like which one were you most proud of? Like, yeah, this is a great dance, and all the judges loved it. Was there one that really stood out?
Funny enough, there's two answers. What was most accurate, I felt like Make the Rooster Crow. It would always win for, the uniqueness and simplicity of the dance and in the creative aspect and the interpretation, music and dance. I felt like they were spot on. One I still have a hard time understanding is Honky Tonk Way, which became international, never won first place in any choreography competition I've been in. So
Never,
I, I
never, never got the love from the judges, but the public loved it.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's like,
Well, I think you
you
made a
know,
good point earlier when you're talking about, an individual dancing versus a crowd. A lot of like your hype choreography is very like it's crowd energy. Tatlo, Make the Rooster Crow, and Honky Tonk Way is like when you see a group of people doing it all together, it's just so energetic and so, it's
yes.
very different individual.
I wanted to also share, backtrack to memorable moments. One time, a Dance for All at Jamie Marshall's event, I competed with Honky Tonk Way for the first time. And when I was gonna do it alone, and then the whole crowd, even my competitors, went onto the dance floor to demo it with me in the competition. And then the judges looked at me and I'm like, I don't know. I allowed anybody to come in, but
That's
I
so
just to me, I got goosebumps because it didn't matter if I was competing against them or if we were friends or not. Everybody, literally the whole room went to the dance floor to demo with me.
at
So
that point, who
I think
cares
that
what
was,
the judges say?
yeah, that one that meant more to me than winning first place.
Yeah, it's that recognition. And I think you probably get that whenever you're out, right? When, your song comes on and people want to dance next to you and they want to be there, want to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just
it,
such
it,
that feeling on the dance floor. I'm telling you, that is one of the best feelings in the entire world. It doesn't matter,
absolutely.
no awards, there's no nothing. You're just in a bar and you're just having a great time. But there are 50 or 100 people that are loving being there with you and doing it.
And that's exactly why I'm in this business, is to bring that joy. Like it inspires me to keep on going because I know how much it affects people's lives. And just for people who even said, "Oh my gosh, I danced next to Mark Paulino," and I'm thinking, I'm just a guy, you know. So
Mhm.
it makes me really happy to have that effect on people
Well,
with
you,
my
you
choreography.
you deserve it. You deserve it. You've
Thank
done
you.
so many amazing things and brought so much joy to everybody and so much fun to people for sure. So what's up next this year? What's your game plan for the fine line dance?
Well, right now, so around September, a new bar is opening up in Sarasota. So it's the Cadillac Jacks. Hey. So it's I'm gonna be the new instructor and Jess is going to be the DJ. Did we figure out a name yet?
I don't know. I'm playing with names. DJ Just
So
Epic. I don't know.
yeah.
Kind of
So I
techie, kind
mean,
of musical.
yeah,
We'll see.
All
so
right, everybody post in the podcast like what DJ name Jess
I
should
need ideas.
she
Brain dead.
needs a new DJ name
yeah, Jess
for
needs
the
it
grand.
for the grand opening. It's definitely going to be a party, but I think it's going to be a huge milestone in my career, especially because speaking to the owners and just they're renovating the bar right now to a true honky tonk bar, and the plans, the ideas, just there's just so much going into this that it shares my value in what I want to promote. And for
They
him
have
to
a
just,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, one huge positive qualities that this line dance bar is going to have is it's going to be not only wooden floor, but it's also hollow. So meaning if you stomp on the floor, not only will it echo, I just think like, makes a rooster crow or honky tonk way where you just stomp, or even just like sin wagon, you're
Oh,
gonna
fun.
have more of that like vibe. You feel the dance. Not only is that so fun and cool, but the fact that the floor will absorb the stomps instead of just, just impacting your feet and ankles, and you're gonna be able to dance all night and not feel super sore the next day. So I'm super excited for the many plans, and it's gonna be phenomenal, and I can't wait for Cadillac Jacks to open up in Sarasota.
The owner is a great person. He's giving Mark a lot of ownership, and I think that's really cool. He's gonna learn a lot in this experience. It's gonna be fun.
Great. Yeah, we're super excited for you guys for that. So
Absolutely.
Jess, what's your favorite two Mark Polino dances? What do you love to get out there and dance?
I don't know any Mark Paulino dances. I don't know what you're talking about.
What's your favorite?
Oh gosh, I don't know. It changes every day. I can't. It depends on what mood I'm in. But like, I mean, Mark's as far as Mark's dances, I don't know. Tatlow's really fun. And like
Tableau is
Mark
my
and I,
number
we
one
dance
favorite
Tatlow
move.
together. We do this dumb thing where they do the shake it. And we like shake it. So that's pretty fun. But the like just any line dance, I really like Chill Factor. Chill Factor is so cool.
So Factor's good.
Yeah.
Classic one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one mark, one not.
Huh?
One mark, one not. That counts.
One mark and one.
Rabbit's foot.
Oh yeah, rabbit's foot. I love rabbit's foot. You can dance that to anything. And it's phrased, so you can literally break it up however it fits. It's nice. I like that one. Yeah, good call.
Very good. All right. So where can people get a hold of you? Where can people pump you up? Where can people, support you? What's
The Fine Line Dance at iCloud.com. We're building a website right now and it's not done yet, but that's going to be like the main hub for everything the Fine Line Dance, all of his
Fine Line
events and
Dance?
workshops, and they can
Fine Line
request to book him. It's going to be thefinelinedance.com. It's not done yet, so don't even bother typing it in your.
All right, I won't put the.
It's gonna be the hub. It's gonna have everything. It's gonna have all his choreography, his step sheets, demos, tutorials, and all of his upcoming events. A way to request booking. It's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. So Mark put together, when he was doing all this traveling in the Northern Virginia around here, put together a full challenge list in the Bring the Fun app. So there's a challenge list for all of his dances in there. So make sure everybody joins that challenge list so you can track all the different dances that you do of Mark's. And we'll do, and there's the little stickers. If you're at any events, you can grab stickers from me or anybody from the Bring the Fun group. That'll get you into the guides, so you can see all the guides of how to use the app. But a lot of fun. You can track everything that you want. It has a Shazam feature, so you can listen to a song and it'll tell you all the dances that are done to that song and things like that. So on social media,
I didn't know it did that. You told me that the other day. I was like, oh,
there's always new features. Like, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, no, that's
there's
the great
a lot of cool stuff in there. So where can people see you on social media? What do you have?
So on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the Fine Line Dance, exactly how it's spelled with no spaces.
Nice. Very nice. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming. It was great hanging out with you last weekend up in Massachusetts and Connecticut, my old stomping grounds.
Absolutely.
Always nice to see you.
Cannot wait to see you all over the country, and one of these days we end up in Europe together or something.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bring the fun everywhere you go. Bye-bye.
I have one question for you. Who is going to bring the fun?
You're in the honky tonk with Todd, the Data Cowboy.